True virtue. True virtue makes no show of virtue, and therefore it is really virtuous. False virtue never loses sight of itself, and therefore it is no longer virtue. True virtue does not assert itself, and therefore is unpretentious. False virtue is acting a part, and thereby is only pretense. When the Tao is lost, there is only virtue. When virtue is lost, there is only generosity. When generosity is lost, there is only justice. When justice is lost, only tradition remains. Tradition reduces loyalty and good faith to a shadow. It is the beginning of disorder. Tradition is the mere flower of the Tao. Apart from its root, it withers and dies. The truly great embody the spirit. Not just the external appearance, they bear fruit, not just blossoms. They do not put on a show of virtue. They practice it. That is chapter 38 of the Tao Te Ching. And as I look at the different systems that are available to humanity for us to choose, I think it's worth, though I've said it before in other recordings, worth mentioning here that human beings are unique and diverse and incredibly valuable, beautiful even, in that each person has their own lived experience. And in some ways, as we've discussed in the past, the Tao is this ineffable quality of truth, of lived experience, of actually having life. And we arrive at the question pretty quickly of how do we want to protect this individual right to live one's life in a meaningful way? And I say meaningful because as we've also discussed before, there are so many different ways to define it, as many different ways as there are human beings, and trying to put words to it is not really going to work. So I'm going to cut off my commentary here, and I want to lean into an expert on the subject of capitalism and read the following. Quote, "The recognition of individual rights implies the recognition of the fact that the good is not an ineffable abstraction in some supernatural dimension, but a value pertaining to reality, to this earth, to the lives of individual human beings. Note the right to the pursuit of happiness. It implies that the good cannot be divorced from beneficiaries, that humans are not to be regarded as interchangeable, and that no human or tribe may attempt to achieve the good of some at the price of the immolation of others. The free market represents the social application of an objective theory of values. Since values are to be discovered by human mind, humans must be free to discover them, to think, to study, to translate their knowledge into physical form, to offer their products for trade, to judge them, and to choose, be it material goods or ideas, a loaf of bread or a philosophy. Since values are established contextually, every man must judge for himself in the context of his own knowledge, goals, and interests. Since values are determined by the nature of reality, it is reality that serves as man's ultimate arbiter. If a human's judgment is right, the rewards are his. If it is wrong, he is its only victim." So what this is getting at is, and this idea is cross-referenced. This is Ayn Rand. This is not a Taoist. This is not someone who is going to likely... in fact, Ayn Rand spoke out against religion and the existence of God and the existence of spirituality in many different contexts. However, the concept here is the exact same. It's the protection of people. It's the idea of what we can do knowing that there are certain realities that we live with. Both the Tao Te Ching, Taoism generally, and I think many religions point to this. I've cross-referenced between Jesus, Buddha, Krishna, and Lao Tzu, Jefferson, Ayn Rand. This arises in so many different contexts. And it's interesting because they arise independently. These ideas have been hit on time and time and time again, and the difficulty in translating them across generations and across populations is the fact that, as the Tao Te Ching, I think, despite being one of the oldest available, the Bhagavad Gita also touches on this and is older, it can't be put into words because it is each person's natural right and ability to pursue their own lived experience.